Coming back to your programs which you're leading, specifically the English programs and professional development programs. So perhaps you've been through different batches already. What do you say about these women you interact with? What usually the kind of problems they face, and how do they perhaps how do they overcome it as well?
Okay, one thing that I have realized is through this project of mine, English Works, we do the capacity building of girls of 19 to 24. That's the age bracket, and they come from underprivileged backgrounds, and they have their own challenges. One of the biggest challenge that they have, and I've seen myself in them, is they're very good, hard-working girls. But yes, of course, they're not at par with any other kid who has been to any other elite school. The very first basic thing, look, from home, kids who go to elite schools, their parents are already educated.
Yeah.
These kids, they have a challenge in terms of parents being uneducated. They don't get whatever the kids want to communicate to them. They are not they don't have that compatibility with their parents. Parents are like, okay, what will education do for you? Or even if they want to support, they don't have the means, they don't have the money. So that's one of the challenges. Then secondly, these girls, they have the talent, but they don't have the exposure. They don't have those books at home. They don't have, let's suppose, exposure to different sort of forums. So they have the potential. The only thing that they lack is the exposure. And these programs, the best part about Lincoln Corners or this English Works project or English Access Micro Scholarship project or any other project that's offered by US Embassy is they provide exposure. They provide exposure to the students, which brings a change in them. And I think exposure is very important. Yeah. Education is about curricular as well as co-curricular activities. Unfortunately, our schools are mainly focusing on
curricular. Yes, that's quite the case. Exactly. Okay, so looking deeper into it, all the different things which you are doing and the experiences you have. It's not a strict question, but if you have, a story in mind, would you like to reflect on a case where you have seen that a student from a less privileged background and they have got the opportunity of education and through the programs which you have done, and they have capitalized on it? So you can say that, yes, like you feel worth doing the job you're doing. You feel like, yes, I have achieved because I have seen some people who didn't have an opportunity, but after having an opportunity, they made most out of it.
Yes, there are so many girls that I know. I would start back in 2012 when we had this English Access Micro Scholarship program. There was this girl and her father was a day laborer. She was with us. A very simple girl, a very quiet girl. And she did her 2 years English Access Micro Scholarship program. After that, she left, she went her way, and I was in the university. And one day I remember I entered my master's classroom and she was sitting there. And I was so happy to see her, and she was also happy. But I was excited to see her because I could see she made it. She made it to the university. She got admission, and then I could see a difference in her as compared to her other class fellows. She was so good. She was vocal. She could express herself. She was no longer that shy girl. And one day I called her and I asked her, I said, Maria, I see a difference in you. And she was like, yes, ma'am. There is a difference and it's evident. I could see her as an empowered girl. She did our master's with us, and then she did her MPhil in English literature. And presently she's serving as a lecturer in a college.
Okay,
so
that's interesting.
I'm still in contact with her. I feel so good. And once again, I'll say the same. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That was 2012 back. She joined English Access Micro Scholarship Program. and now she is an independent girl herself. And
Exactly.
obviously, it's not one. I really believe in this trickle down effect. She
Hmm.
is going to be a role model for so many other girls in her community, in her neighborhood, in her family. I think everybody is going to praise her, and many other girls are going to get inspiration from her that, look, she was the one who started her journey, and maybe we can also be the same one day. So that's one case that I still remember. There are many more others too. So many. There are so many.
I totally agree with you because if I talk from my experience, whenever I see my students, especially after being in this career for about more than 5 years, now I have a different experience seeing things. As I said earlier, you see things differently. So I remember some of the students who were like obviously struggling with their, studies, and they were fresh students, and at some point when I find out that these students are selected for reputable scholarships, like some of my students I remember were selected for a UGrad recently. So I was literally happy. It gave me kind of a feeling that like I could express it in a way that, of course, there was no financial or some, substantial thing as such for me. But, knowing the fact that I've taught some people and now they are improved to the level that they are tapping on opportunities which are outside the country. So it gives me a very good feeling. I will must say that, seeing your student getting success.
That's so very true. And that's what I told you that, at times you said that, how do I manage? It is difficult, it is hard. But then when I see the reward in terms of the difference that I'm making in people's lives, the way my students, the way they are doing whatever they are doing, I feel so good. The way you said, we can't express it, I
Exactly,
think, as teachers,
exactly,
Zeeshan. I
exactly.
think we
You
can't.
wouldn't be able to find right words for it because that
Yeah.
expression is so much related to feelings, and it's hard to express intangible things sometimes with words. I
Yeah.
understand.